Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Australian Vintage Computer Collectors Zoom Catch-Up for April 2022. Before I begin, I'd like to point out that this is being recorded for others so they can view later. We don't have any newcomers that I'm aware of tonight, unless Mark is new. Are you new here tonight, Mark? Okay, he could be, but he's not commenting. But what we're going to do anyway is we're going to catch up with everybody and find out what they've been doing for the last month or so.
Sorry, yes, I am new. Sorry, I'm just doing it on my phone, and I don't use Zoom on my phone too often. So sorry about that. Yes, I'm new. Thank you for the welcome.
No worries, Mark. If you would be okay with it, would you mind just telling us about yourself and what brought you to vintage computer collecting and what your past might be? We would very much like to hear about it.
Sure, thank you. All right, I guess I started, I'm in my 54, I am. So I started tinkering around with, well, geez, the Commodore 64, TI-994A. And I actually, when I was I think I was 15 or so, the Tech 1 came out, the Talking Electronics Computer Z80 based little machine. And I fell in love with it, and I've been basically kind of roughly involved with it ever since, and still am. And most recently, I've picked up a Micro B as well, another Z80 based machine. So I've been kind of in the retro machines. Obviously, I'm in IT, so I'm obviously keeping up with all the latest tech and all that kind of crap. But, still nothing holds my heart than a little Z80 based computer of one sort or another. So, what else did I get recently? A Sega Sc3000, also Z80 based. So it's I'm expanding my collection of Z80 based machines. So thank you.
Oh, that's excellent. Welcome. I'm sure you'll find many fans of that architecture here in Craig, and Rob's a big Sega Sc3000 fan here. Great. So welcome.
Thank you.
So I'll just quickly go over what I've been into in the last month. So I don't know how many of you people saw it, but there was an auction on eBay that was for a substantial pile of Intellivision stuff. Wow. And the guy was asking for a considerable sum of money. And I approached the individual and bought it all. And I have been since discarding everything that I didn't want from that pile. But in a nutshell, it was an absolute steal. And now I'm 5 items away from the original 125 Intellivision titles. So if you look behind me, you can see a large collection of my Intellivision titles, and plus some new boxed items. You can see a boxed Intellivision 2 up the top, boxed IntelliVoice, a lot of brand new homebrew titles I've never had before. So an excellent addition to my collection. So I was a little bit thrilled there. A great pickup.
What are you missing?
I am missing.
I'm sure you've got a list.
Yeah, I do. I'm just trying to find my spreadsheet. Just bear with me. So the answer is the 3 difficult ones: Congo Bongo, Tutankhamun, Super Cobra, Fathom by iMagic, and I think Triple Challenge, and Mountain Madness Super Pro Skiing. So I've got a couple to go, but I reckon by the end of 2022, I'll have everything but Learning Fun 1 and 2, which are impossible to get. So I think I'll have the 123 titles plus maybe some cardboard boxes, the reproductions, and some photos of cartridges to stick inside them. So that's where I'm at. The other exciting news for the month was, I don't know if I mentioned it last month, but I received the IBM Cluster program, which is something I've been looking for a very long time. Now, this software title is for IBM Cluster Cards, a very elusive item, and probably people think, why do you care about that? Well, I got an IBM JX about 3 years ago that had the first known cluster card I have come across, and then I acquired a genuine IBM PC cluster card, and then I acquired a genuine IBM PC Junior cluster card, and I've created a little network of the 3 units, and they work. But the issue I was missing is I never had the software, and the software was not available anywhere. And thanks to Computer Reset and the liquidations of Computer Reset, this came on the market. And what's interesting about this one, I've already put it on archive.org, but this one clearly says not for sale. That's what this says, and these stickers all over it. And it's obviously some kind of educational release, but that's now available for everybody to consume on archive.org. Very happy to get my hands on that. I got the Amiga 500 Mini that everyone's talking about. It's sitting there in its box. I haven't even turned it on yet. And probably the best find was I was talking about before this started. I got a Commodore 1701 monitor from the side of the road. So I was just doing a run in a town called Pakenham, and I was running along and I saw this thing on the side of the road. I'm like, that looks like a Commodore monitor, and it's hard rubbish. And I looked at it. Someone's cut off the power cable. It's covered in a thick layer of dust. It's clearly been sitting in someone's garage for a long time. There hasn't been any rain in days. So I thought, I'll finish this run, go back, pick it up, chuck it in the car, like a good old Commodore hoarder that I am, and took it home. And on the weekend, put it on a new power cable. It works. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I couldn't believe it.
That was a pretty risky. That was a pretty risky move, going for your finishing your run and then going back for it. I mean,
yeah, well, it was just going to dusk, and there's only a couple of us losers in Pakenham that would go and pick up someone's hard rubbish on a Commodore. I don't think there's too many people like us that would run. I mean, think about how many computer people like us go for runs, all right, and walk around and look at hard rubbish.
Good point.
Not very many.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, but some guy could have been out driving. I mean, I've been known to cruise on hard rubbish night and see what's out there. So you might have lost it to a cruiser. You got to be careful.
So, I was running with my partner, and I said, "I'm gotta go back. I've got to go." So I just bolted.
You stay here, guard this. I'm going back. Yeah.
I just bolted, went back, got the car, drove back, picked it up. Happy as Larry. Anyway, yep, pretty exciting. You know that you're a bit of a sad case when you're excited about some garbage that someone's thrown out and put on the nature strip, but I was pretty stoked. It's not often, and Commodore's not making them anymore, so got to take them and diverted it from landfill. So that's about me. So I'm going to nominate David next. Tell us what you've been doing the last month.
Not a huge amount, actually. I got the 500 Mini like a lot of other people have. What I did do that a lot of people didn't do, though, is I did pre-order the extra controller and mouse as well, because you could buy them separately. Main reason is I thought, well, that's a cheap way to get an Amiga-looking mouse for the likes of a USB-powered Amiga. So instead of using some modern piece of junk, I've got something that looks half appropriate.
It did surprise me how small it was.
Yeah, it's about 2/3 size. It's not too bad. It's okay. It's okay. But given that it's like I think it was $39 for the extra mouse. Yeah, it's all right. Got a whole swag of Msx cartridges come through in their original boxes. So that's going to be interesting going through those. And I don't know if I said this last time, but I got a hard drive controller and hard drive for an Amiga 1000. So it's actually an MFM hard drive. I think it's 40 meg or something like that. And it's literally just an IBM 8-bit MFM controller stuck on a adapter card that plugs into the Amiga 1000.
Huh.
And it just goes.
Got one of them.
Sorry?
I still have one of them. That was how I ran my first BBS. RLL XT card into an adapter with drivers to run it.
Yeah, so it's a great big lump of a thing. And I've got no idea whether it works yet or not. But aside from that, it's been pretty quiet for me. So
You'll need the software on disk. You might have trouble finding that.
Yeah. I gathered as much because it won't be in there's no Kickstart in the 1000. So yeah.
Yeah, there's no ROMs or anything in it. It was purely done with drivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the other thing is too, I thought I could actually use something like a PyStorm or something like that. So I've actually got an inbuilt Kickstart and all that sort of thing. But when I can find the time, I'll do that. I've been lacking a bit of time recently, so projects piling up behind me and not getting the time to get to them.
Yeah, just create more projects. That seems to be my strategy. Just increase the projects, forget about the past. Just keep
exactly. Just in case I've got the time, they'll be there ready and waiting for me.
So keep moving forwards, you know.
Yes.
Don't look back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, very good. All right, Ken. Ken, tell us what you've been doing since the last time we spoke to you.
Nothing. As I said, my life's been a nightmare. Went through the whole process of sister put dad in a home. He only lasted about 3 weeks. It was quite disgusting. So that was all the end of last year, and leading up to that was very difficult with him to get him to cooperate and eat and all sorts of stuff. So haven't really had. I do a lot of reading and looking at stuff online. I don't get to do any hands-on stuff, but because I was here 24/7, basically that's been my bed for the last X amount of years to make sure he didn't wander off through either the front or the back doors. So I'd spend a lot of time flicking around on the net and reading up on stuff. I did notice there's a guy done a really nice cartridge. Unfortunately, he's not going to manufacture them, but he's putting it into open source. So I would love to see someone in Australia make them. He calls it a 80, I think he calls it, and it's basically an 80-column card for the Commodore 64 with another card that goes on the top to give it a Z80.
Huh.
And it's basically a modern day version of the old CPM add-on device.
I've got one.
Really?
Yep. Mike did a run of them a little while back.
Mike. Oh,
Mike
wow.
Paul. Yep.
So that's a Z80 CPM card and an 80-column card.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Is that the latest version the guy's done where it just takes like a phono plug, push into it to get your video out?
No, this one actually has been completely reimagined, and it actually uses it somehow. I actually haven't even plugged it in yet. Like I said, I've been short of time, but someone's completely re-engineered it from the ground up, and it's all surface mount.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got the. Oh, hang on. That's different again to what I've seen. The guy that's done the latest lot of stuff. Is there a board that goes on the top of that for the?
Nope, that's it.
I wonder if that's newer again or older than what this other guy's doing.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. It was just one of the guys who's a member of the group actually said, "Oh, I'm doing this," and I've gone, "Oh, yeah, that sounds like." I'm not a CPM type of person, but I thought, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I'm a Commodore person, and
that also gives you the 80-column text though.
Yes, and it apparently just uses the normal output as I understand it. But like I said, it's not something I've investigated. So
You need to plug it in. You need to plug that into a Commodore 64 right now. And
there's only about 10 on the shelf at the moment. So
is there a way you can send me a link to that so I can have a bit of a read up at some stage? Yeah,
sure, mate, sure.
If anybody wants to add me on Facebook or find me on Facebook, search for Ken Page, KenPage, and my call sign my ham radio call sign I use as a unique thing, makes it easier to find me everywhere on the internet, is VK4AKP, so Victor Kilo 4 Alpha Kilo Papa. And you should find a picture of, I think, me and my 2 white station wagon Commodores or something is the profile picture. Because, I guess it'd be good to, keep in touch with you guys. I mean, it doesn't matter that you're down the bottom of Australia and all the rest of it. We all share the same hobby.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not going to hold it against us. Thanks.
Oh,
What are you, Northern Australia, Ken?
not way north. I'm near Brisbane, Ipswich, near Brisbane.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How do you keep your computers dry up there?
Oh man, I tell you what, that last flooding thing was pretty horrible. In fact, I was a bit disappointed because I bought myself about a few months before I went through everything with Dad. I bought myself a little project caravan thing. I don't know if you ever heard of an A van or an A
Yep.
liner.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one of those. And the reason I bought it is the design of the things, they're virtually bomb-proof as far as like the worst thing of caravans is leaks, water getting in. And the design of the A-vans, it has so much overhang on the roof and everything with the right angle bits of aluminium, there's nowhere for water to get in. But of course, Murphy's Law, it poured that much. There was, where the windows were glued to the roof, there was enough where the sealant had got let go enough over the years, and of course I had water in the van, so I went through all that headache. But I tell you what, I feel so sorry for the people that lost their homes and everything. Fortunately, because I live near the river, by the way. Fortunately, it did not get anywhere near our yard. So
You're very fortunate.
yeah. I mean, you guys got it bad down there too. It all transferred down there, and you know, a lot of people lost their houses and that down south.
Yeah, not for us Victorians, but maybe from some New South Whalers. But
Yeah.
anyway, Jason, tell us what you've been doing.
What have I been doing? Well, the month started off well. When was it? The big Micro V event in Sydney. We went to that. So Keith and I went to that. It was really good. I finally actually got to meet in person, like Alan and Ewan and Owen and Adrian and people like that, and Riley. So that was really good. Enjoyed that. It was a bit of a long day, but it was good. Project-wise, it's kind of been, I've had lose, and then massive win. So the losers were Nathan had spent a stack of time for me on an Amiga 2000, because one of the machines I've always wanted is I've always wanted a big box Amiga. And we had it all sorted. There was a stack of repair. Nathan put in hours and days into it, and I had it here and it was all working, and then it wasn't. So Nathan's going to keep poking at that. I then had another project on my 2GS where I was going to wire in the cabling you need to run it through RGB to HDMI, because my monitor has always been flaky and it had eventually died altogether. So I thought, oh, RGB to HDMI. And I was literally, it was the morning I was about to start shooting a video on how to wire it all up and all the rest of it, and it flaked out. So that was good. And then, but the win has obviously been the Pet. So the Commodore Pet has kind of always been one of those computers I would love. I always wanted to own and assumed I never would, mainly because there's not that many of them, and when they do come up, they go for silly money. Kerry was happy enough for me to take stewardship of a 4032 that he had. And so I got that on Tuesday, and I've been poking around at it, and then did the video yesterday and this morning, cleaning it all up because it had been in one of his storage lockers for years. But yeah, it's all now hunky-dory and working, and I have a very nice 4032 Pet.
Sweet. They're great to play with.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I actually really like, I think of those kind of, those first three home computers, I mean, I've always loved the TRS-80, always will. But having now owned an Apple II and now I have the Commodore Pet, I can certainly see the benefits of those machines as well, if you that makes sense. I mean, you look at the architecture of the Apple II and how long that actually then lasted for. And I love the, like, because the Pet has 0 graphic abilities. Like, it's got nothing apart from the Petsky character set. And I just love what people have done with that Petsky character set to make games and all the rest of it. I just think it's really cool. And the way that they've been really creative on using that to do things that was never meant to do, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you been able to load Petsky robots on it?
No, not yet. I need to. I've actually borrowed Randall's SD to Pet, the one from The Future Was 8-bit. But neither he or I actually have bought Petsky robots. But I'll probably order the boxed version, so it comes with the controller and the controller adapter and all that kind of stuff.
It's awesome.
I think I'd like to. Have you got the boxed version with the adapter and the controller and everything? Yeah,
so I put a Super Nintendo controller on it and it plays great. It's amazing. It's so fast. It's quite surprising.
Yeah. I was actually playing around with it's a really simple game from, I can't remember who makes it now. It's from maybe 10 years ago, called Down. And it's just a upward scrolling and you got to dodge as everything and you can't get trapped at the top, one of those games. And I just sat there for like an hour just playing this thing. It was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Yeah, it's fun to play with. Yeah, great machine.
So I'm really, really happy with it. And I like odd shaped computers. So, it being an all-in-one. I really like it. I'm really happy with it.
Cool. Very good. Anything else? Anything else coming around the corner, or are you going to get that A2000 back up and going?
Try to get the A2000 up and running. I still haven't got to my Amiga 400, which is down here, which I think I mentioned in one of these probably 6 months ago. It's still here.
Amiga.
Atari 400.
Atari.
Sorry, Atari 400. So there's that. There's other stuff. The list is starting to get a bit long. I still haven't gotten to the 464 that I got. It's still sitting there. Yeah. Cool. Too many projects, not enough time.
Yeah, that's most of our problems, I think.
Yeah. So that's kind of it for me.
Cool. Nigel, tell us what you've been doing. Please tell us more than last time.
What I don't think I can't remember what I said last time, but I really haven't been up to a lot, just sorting cards and stuff, getting ready to sell them, putting aside cards that match driver sets so that I can go through and just line them up and test them all in one hit, and things like that. I've got about 20 PCI audio cards here to start with, and then there's another 30, I think, to go after that. So yeah, then the ISA ones, and then I got given a pile of AGP cards as well. Picked up 2 ATI 980 XTs out of that. I'll probably flash one for a Macintosh and use that on a blue and white or something like that, or a slightly later machine. That's it for that sort of thing. And then I pulled out my Amiga 4000 that's been sitting on the shelf the last 8 months, and had a go at that. It'd been running unstable and I couldn't work out what was going on with it, so I pulled it apart and had a bit of a poke around it, and I pulled out the motherboard and I was pushing on a few things and one of the caps just popped off. I looked at it and I went, oh, I had a look at it, and it'd been recapped at some stage, and they'd used solder paste on it. And one side of the caps, the solder paste hadn't melted. And so it was just making contact enough that it would run a bit, and then it would, and so yeah, so I just redid the cap on that, and it's running perfectly fine now. So
that's a good discovery. I tell you what, you could be chasing that for ages if it didn't pop off.
Oh, I spent about 8 hours on that thing. Off and on, going through it all, and I finally decided I'm going to pull out the motherboard and just go over it inch by inch, and yeah, it's right near the RAM and the battery and that sort of thing, and so it's right up against the thing, and so I couldn't get the soldering iron down into there properly, so I just put a bit of cardboard in there, got the soldering iron in there, and 5-second job, and it was, yeah, and so that's a massive win for me. Other than that, really, it's hasn't been much. Just trying to get ready to clear more gear.
Cool.
Yeah, too much here.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Thanks, Nigel. Nathan, tell us what you've been doing.
Well, Jason did a run in for us. Spent a fair bit of time on his A2000, got it working. During that process, actually, I just got really hooked on Amigas. It's kind of my first foray into 16-bit machines. Forgive my voice. I'm still getting over the spicy cough that I picked up about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I started on Jason's, and it was a bit of a learning process. I'd never repaired a 16-bit machine before. It's all been, VIC-20s and Commodore 64s, and you can probably see them all there. Pardon me. And a couple of Amiga 2000s came up for sale while I was repairing Jason's. I thought, I'm hooked on this. So I went up to Nowra and I picked them up and brought them back. Hit a kangaroo on the way, so that raised the price on them. But that's all I've done now since January, is just repairing A2000s. The other two, the two that I got from Nowra, this is one of them. This one's fully working now, and it had your typical battery damage sort of down there, which I was able to repair and clean up a bit. Based on the lessons I learned from repairing Jace's, I just skipped all the bullshit troubleshooting. I ripped off all the sockets, all the caps, and I didn't even bother turning it on. I just replaced all the caps, all the sockets. And I also replaced the 9-pin ports at the front and the keyboard port with brand new replacements, because they were so badly corroded underneath, or they had a lot of alkaline underneath. That one worked. I got that one up and running in 2 days.
Wow.
These two that I'm working on are Rev 6.2. They're a much simpler board versus the Jason's Rev 4. But I learned a lot about the Rev 4 and all of its nuances and foibles. And the third A2000, which is sitting on the bench right now, that's working. I just need to get the keyboard circuit repaired. I ripped off a bunch of passives that were covered in corrosion. I put them back on, but whenever you connect a keyboard, it resets. So I've got to replace all the passives and check everything again. And it had the worst damage. It had battery leakage all the way up to the Agnes chip. So I stripped it all the way back, and I soaked the whole thing in vinegar to get rid of all of the alkaline. You can see pictures of this, by the way, on the Vintage Computer Collectors group. You look for a photo that has good, bad, and ugly, and three boards. And I've been updating that thread with what I've been working on with those A2000s. The other thing I did was produced a bunch of these just off PCBWay. These are your more basic, RGB to HDMI card adapter for the A2000. So that plugs in the back. Raspberry Pi goes on there, and the Raspberry Pi exposes its ports directly out of the expansion slot. Whereas the other designs, you got cables and things and a plate and stuff like that. This is a bit simpler. Soldered on the CPLDs and all the components. About $25 to make one. And the spares that I had, they sold within hours for about $80 each.
Oh, wow.
Feel a little bit bad about that, but I mean, this bloody thing's got to pay for itself, right? So I got all that working. I've still got a little bit more work to do on Ugly. I've got two A600s that another person's given to me to repair. And I've got Jason's again because it's got a fault. So I've got to go back and have a look at what's going on in there. That's pretty much everything I've worked on this year, but I would sort of make a shout out to the Ukraine. Obviously, we know what's going on over there, but I reached out to a bunch of retro computer sites over there when the conflict started, and I just sort of message of support, Slava Ukraini. I actually became friends with one of the museum owners over there, not the one that got wiped out in Mariupol, but a guy who owns a collection and has a museum set up in the university at Kremenchuk. Well, he's taken his family and moved them off into Lviv for safety. And I've become really good friends with him online, and he's a really nice guy. But I've been following closely what's going on in there. I've got a military background, so that sort of stuff interests me. But I've been in touch with his name's Andrew. And it's been interesting. Ukraine has a retro computer community not unlike Australia. And there's museums all over the place. There's one in Lviv, there's one in Kiev, there was one in Mariupol, and there's one in Kremenchuk. So they're just like us, right? And they're running for their lives, and trying to save their collections. The museum in Mariupol was probably the best in the country. There's pictures and videos of it online if you go and check it out. And it's really heartbreaking that collection got completely destroyed. But my friend Andrew, he's got a collection of ex-USSR machines, a lot of clones, a lot of stuff that was copied from the West, and he's really keen to get back there at some point once the war is over. And I've got an invitation to go over and check it out. I'm going to take him up on that offer. So is
there any way that we can support them that is practical?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways. At the moment they just they want to preserve their collections, and they want to keep themselves safe, obviously. I've reached out to the ACMS and I've just said, look, is there anything we could do? The response I got was, maybe after things settle down, we could do something of a donation. And that's where my thinking is. There's collections that have perished, and the owners of those collections will want. The guy that owned the Mariupol museum, he wants to rebuild. So he's a candidate. If we've got spare things lying around, I know I do. Get them over there and try to replenish their collections. So,
what voltage are they in Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I think most of us would have something that we could give them, but I wish there was some practical way in which we could help them now. I certainly 100% sympathize with what you're saying. I can't think of how awful it must be.
Yeah, well, if you have a shipping container of AK-47s, I'll take them.
I've got plenty of Intellivision cartridges, but I don't think it'll do much good. Very good. Anything else, Nathan?
No, that's it for me.
Thanks, man.
I don't know. There was some pretty terrible Intellivision games over the years. You could probably hand them to the Russians.
Send them to the Russians.
I'll just give up.
Yeah, play Carnival. Play Carnival on the Intellivision.
So
I've got a few vintage keyboards that are weapons.
I was just going to say, looking at the internet, Ukraine's 220 50 hertz, just like us.
Oh wow! So we really can help them. Very good. Now, Mav, over to you, sir. You have no microphone. I don't know why. All right, I'm going to skip over you, and we'll come back to you. So let's go to Craig. Craig, fire away.
This has been a big month for me.
Oh.
As someone else said, I forget who it was, I went to the Microbee meeting, March of the Microbees down at the ACMS earlier this month, which was great fun. I was on the question group there with Ewan and Owen, and it was great to catch up with some guys I haven't seen for 30 years. Monty Chan, Raymond Hahn, Gerard Hill was there. We've worked together since then, but I haven't seen him for probably a decade. It was great. There was a lot of really interesting people there, and was great to catch up. ACMS is obviously doing lots of good work, but I've got to meet some of the guys there, Adrian and some of the other guys from the ACMS. And then completely coincidentally, some of you guys may have seen this. There was a big lot of Microbees came up on eBay as a 99 cent auction. 17 Microbees, 9 monitors, various disk drives of various bits and pieces, cables, all sorts of things. I reached out to the person who had the auction just to see what the history was behind, and it turns out that she was the granddaughter of one of the original one of the technicians at Microbee, a guy called Ian Smith, and this was part of his vast collection of stuff that had been left over. Unfortunately, he died just recently, and they were trying to get rid of all of his stuff. Long story short, lots of family stuff going on. It was put up for auction. Auction got up to about $6,000. I was the highest bidder. with about 20 minutes to go, the auction was withdrawn. And I'd reached out to Julia and asked her what the story was. And it turned out that she was under a phenomenal amount of pressure from other family members who were saying, no, it shouldn't be on eBay. No, you should have split it up. No, you should have done this. No, you should have done that. If it's on eBay, you're going to have to pay commission. You should have sold it somewhere else. And in the end, she just said, it's all too much, it's all too much, it's all too much. And combined with that, unfortunately, she was getting a lot of, well, I don't say a lot, she got some emails from the vintage computer community here in Australia who basically were not very nice, telling her that she was an idiot for, selling it as a single unit, that she should have split it up, that she was obviously a woman, didn't know what she had. And so basically it all became, it's just like she just freaked out and just went, I don't need this in my life. Because I'd been communicating with her, she reached out to me and said, look, are you prepared to do a deal? Just cash, come down, pick it up, get it out of my life. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll do you a deal. So I did a deal. It was more than the auction price. I offered her a fair price for it. And I had to drive down to Merimbula, which is like a 6-hour trip there and back. But I've driven to Melbourne and back, so that wasn't a big problem. So that was the unfortunate side of it. The good side of it is you can see there, I've got a small sample of what was in the lot. There was, as I said, there was 7 of the M38 Micro B branded monitors, which are the amber or green screens with the little black and the white around it. There was an M18, which is, it turns out it's a green screen. There's a weird M18 that looks like it might have been a prototype or an MGA monitor because it doesn't have a composite video input. It's got a DB15 on it. Plugged it in to a color CGA port. Doesn't generate anything. Don't know what that is yet. Haven't got into it. But the cream of the crop. Did you? Sorry, what was that?
You didn't manage to get a gamma, did you?
Oh God, no, I wish. No, they were all gammas are known and accounted for. So
I did once have one.
Did you? Okay. Okay.
I sold it to David Vermont.
Right. Yes. The one that David has got is well known. But the cream of the crop was the Micro B color monitor, which was well wanted. I can see it just there. I posted some pictures on the group. It's in beautiful condition, works perfectly. Plugged it into one of Ewan's Premium Plus units, came up. All the colors are great. So really happy with that. That's a keeper. Of the Micro Bs, there were 17 units that were seen on the picture. One of them was just an empty case. One of them had a hole through the board. I posted that on the group. There was actually a physical hole in the printed circuit board corresponding exactly to where the cassette interface amplifier is, which is a dead giveaway that was one of the ones where the little monkeys in the New South Wales Education Department have plugged the 240 volt leads into the cassette and blown the crap out of the cassette interface. So that's probably a no-go. But of the others, it seems to have been a StarNet system. If anyone was familiar with the Micro B StarNet, seems to have been there's probably about 9 StarNet clients there, which is a 64K DRAM board with no floppy disk controller. There's a couple of ROM-based units, including one very old blue board. If you remember, if those are in the Micro Bs, the original Micro Bs came out, they had a blue solder resist rather than the later green ones, and that's a dead giveaway that it's an older board. And there was one premium unit, but that one doesn't work. So most of these are just monochrome standard units. But I'm slowly working my way through them. I've already sold off one 128K unit with a monitor to a chap, and there will be more coming up over the next couple of weeks as I slowly sift my way through them and get them going. But so far, about a 50% mortality on the base units. Of all the monitors I've tried so far, I've worked with the exception of that weird ass M18. But yeah, that's been. I've now got to shift them out because I've used up. I'm seriously in negative on brownie points with my wife at the moment. I had to sort of mortgage all future hope of buying anything vintage computer for the next 2 years to sort of get approval for that. And now I've got to get that stuff shipped and money back for it. But I'll be selling them at reasonable prices, not at the prices that it would have been sold if some other guy picked it up and
get some jewelry, mate.
Out of interest,
Bit of jewelry will take care of it.
Yes, exactly.
Out of interest, did you ever buy one of the limited run of the last the modern
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got one of Ewan's premium pluses here.
Yeah,
That's a nice,
I'm still yet to take mine out of the box, so I haven't even played with it.
yeah, that's a nice little. I've used it for testing, and it's got a little Linux. It's got a little Unix shell in it. You can do things, and it's useful for checking out monitors and checking out disk systems and everything. So I think I've got number 2. Ewan built up the first one, and this was the first one that he after that he built up. So I haven't got one of his new kits though. He hasn't come up with his new premium, ultra, special, mega special boards yet. But when one of those come out, I'll probably get one of them.
I got him to sign underneath my case, so mine's a collectible. It's got his.
Very nice. So yeah, that was my month. Big month.
Sounds like it. Good pickup. It's unfortunate the situation arose the way it did. But I guess this is what happens sometimes when you put up bulk auctions. And that's sort of, I think, how I ended up with that bulk and television lot, because people don't want to deal with the large quantities at large cash amounts. And if you can just offer someone a deal, they're happy to just move on.
Yeah. Well, especially when it's not their expertise. I mean, this lady, she was a conveyancer. She's a real estate conveyancer, and whilst it meant a lot to her emotionally because it was a granddad stuff, she had no knowledge of how much it was worth or what it was going to go for or whatever. So, and again, the stress she was getting from the rest of the family. Once the rest of the family realised that, oh, this grandpa's stuff might actually be worth money, everybody suddenly had an opinion. But of course, nobody wanted to actually do the work.
Yeah.
And at that point, it just got too much. She said, take it, and having built up the rapport, because I used to work with Microbe and everything, so she felt comfortable passing it on to me. And again, I offered her a fair price. I mean, the $6,100, that was much less than what I offered her to pay for it. So it wasn't like I ripped her off.
Yeah, cool. Very good.
It sounds like that. Oh, sorry.
No, go, Chase.
It sounds like what you picked up was possibly a computer lab, like a school computer lab, like an entire one.
Could have been, yeah.
Okay, so there was no. The question was actually going to be, so there was no markings or anything like that.
Oh God, yeah. There's markings all over these things.
Yeah, I know, but like from a school or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're all marked. About half of them have got Lisero High School.
Okay.
So what I suspect is he picked these up when Lisero High School sort of decommissioned their B network. That would be my guess, because all the ones with Lisero High School on them were basically either StarNet units or a ROM-based unit.
Okay. Because we had pretty much the same thing at Nowra Primary when I was a kid. We had, our lab was, it was all basically, dumb terminals, except for the computer at the front, which basically ran the network. And then there was one computer in the center of the room, which with the color monitor and the disk drives and everything. And that was like the teacher's computer and the one you got to play scavenger on at lunch.
Exactly. Well, I worked on the StarNet. I actually did the StarNet client software, so I'm pretty familiar with it. But
okay, fair enough. I can't remember the name of the teacher because he was there for years.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher that actually ran that lab, Mr. Potter or Cotter or something like that. Anyway.
So my plan with these is for the StarNet, once I work out which is what's working and what's not, the StarNet units, I'm going to come up with a kit to convert them to a 64K floppy disk unit. So you need a 2793 chip, a connector, a couple of bits and pieces, a couple of bits of Jelly Bean chips, and probably for 50 or 60 bucks, you'll be able to convert one of these StarNet clients into a full 64K disk unit that you can put a GoTech or floppy drives on. And that'll probably free up about another 10 Bs to be used. But in the meantime, I've got plenty of parts. If anyone wants a project unit with a micro B, just reach out, let me know, because I got heaps of them out the back.
Oh, very good. Thanks, Craig. Shall we return now to Mav and see if his microphone works?
Am I on? Is this thing working?
Excellent.
Excellent. Perfect. Good news. We're going back to the swap meets for people in Melbourne.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. I went out there today. I met one of the regulars there who I buy old equipment from, and picked up a complete Tandy 1000 SL system. So that'll go in my collection because I don't have one of those. It'll go in the collection for the time being, at least. And while I was there, I ran into Alan, who was the gentleman who runs the computer swap meets, and he's just like, well, guys, where the F are you? So I said, we're waiting for One Turner to come back, and he was saying it's difficult to get the place at One Turner that we were going to, but Keysborough is pretty well locked in, and while it's a long drive for me, it's a good drive for, it's closer for some of you guys like Anthony and Justin. And
Maybe Dave, maybe.
Where is Dave? Oh, there he
Yeah,
is.
he texted.
Yeah, we can twist
Geelong.
Dave's
I'm moving to Rock Bank on Friday.
Wow, Rock Bank, just up the road from me.
Yeah, so I'll see you more often.
Great, I look forward to it. And there's other people like who else usually joins us here?
Alan?
Yeah, Alan for sure. He'll be in, and so it's usually the second weekend of each month that he has them at Keysborough. So I said, well, I'll get the gang together, and we'll go there next month in May. It'll be around this time next month. So that'll be good to get back into that thing.
Cool.
Nothing much else. I've just been sort of busy like crazy since I've got back. I've had some interesting dramas with eBay managing to put my account on hold so that I can't list things, which is a very strange way of trying to punish me for, well, firstly for something I didn't do, but at the same time, all my other 780 odd items that are on eBay are allowed to run and sell, so they can continue to sell and provide me with an income and provide them with fees, but they won't allow me to list anything. So I sort of had a lot of phone calls with them in January and February, which they then subsequently fixed the problem until about a week ago. So what was happening is I was getting up in the morning, getting an email from eBay saying that your account has been put on hold due to fees not paid. Now, if anyone
They take the fees out.
Yes, if
now,
anyone,
do they?
That's the thing. If anyone here, I know you know this, Anthony, if you're on managed payments, they take their fees out before they give you the money. So you should never be in a situation where you are in arrears with fees. So I would call them up and get onto someone, and they'd say, oh yeah, well, I was looking at your account, looks like you owe us fees. And so, oh good, all right, I want to pay them. How much and how do you want the payment? And so they put me on hold for between 3 and 20 minutes and then come back and say, we've checked over your account, you don't owe us anything. And I'm like, I know, because I call you each day with this. So what are you going to do about it? And they say, oh, well, we'll give you back your listing privileges, which they do. And then I can list like crazy until their glitchy system does the same thing the next night. Now, this has happened on and off for about 3 months. So I'm being ranty and venting here, even though you guys probably don't care. And because
it's so unacceptable.
You know me and vintage computers, I'm only in it for the money. So. But anyway, so I think they've finally fixed it. But I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. And now they've been contacting me saying, do you want to move your eBay business over to a fulfillment by eBay type situation where I send them my items and a bit like the fulfillment by Amazon process, in that they store your stuff for you for a small fee, and then when it sells, they ship it out for you. Sounds good in practice, but if they call me and ask me again, the answer is going to be, I don't fucking trust you guys at all. What are you going to do? Keep my stuff when you throw me off your system again with your glitchy bastardized system from the US. It's always funny there when you call eBay support. I don't know if any of you have had to do it, but they tell you how long you've been a member for, and can anyone hear me properly? I'm just wondering if the system's glitching or doing.
No, it's something's going on with Pat's microphone. I've just muted him.
Okay. And thought it was my microphone for a moment then. And bye, Pat. See ya.
Sorry, Pat.
Sorry, Pat.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah. So the person at the help desk at eBay in some third world, sweatshop.
Oh, they're in Queensland, are
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Answers the phone and says, what's your name? And then they look and said, well, look, looks like you've been on eBay for 22 years and 5 months. Thank you for your loyalty. And then I sort of start on them. And by this time, I'm very short-tempered because I'm a middle-aged, grumpy old man. So it doesn't take me long to get annoyed with them. And I've gotten to the point where I've really got my whole inner Karen going. When I can tell I've got a young person on there that's at the front end of the call thing, sometimes I say to them, look, I've been on eBay probably longer than you've been alive. I'm not going to talk to you. Just put me through to your supervisor. And then I start talking to them. And I hate to have to do that because I don't get enjoyment out of doing that. But I also don't like not doing anything wrong and not being able to do what I do for a living. This is my main gig now. So it really is annoying when it happens. So that's my eBay rant. And so if, and they still haven't been able to tell me what caused it. They're saying that something went through to collections, and collections is a separate entity to eBay, but collections has the ability to restrict accounts independently of eBay. And I said to them, well, that's just the most ridiculous system I've ever heard. Surely as eBay, you should be able to contact collections and explain to them to get me off their system, and which will solve the problem. And they said, oh, you have to get in touch with collections. Their email is resolve@ebay.com. So I sent a message and it bounced straight back. There's no such email address.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This is Groundhog Day. All right. The computer related stuff. I've just been sort of clearing out tons of stuff, sorting out monitors and getting ready to e-waste stuff that's too far gone in readiness for the next big ass consignment of sort of 90s to early 2000 beige box era stuff. So I'm kind of having fun with that at the moment. I put a post up on the buy sell swap group, and that got a good amount of interest from Melbourneites. I don't mind packing AT and ATX cases and things. I can do it really well, so they always arrive without a problem, but it just gets monotonous after a while. So I thought I'll offer some locally, and a few people came around and bought quite a few things. So that was a bit of fun. And I've still got 24 cases I haven't opened yet, so God knows what's in them. Everyone's saying, well, put me on the list if you find a Gravis ultrasound, or put me on the list if you find
Adlib Gold 1000.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Sound Blaster AWE 64 gold
with a wave blaster on it.
All that sort of thing.
I'm sure you've got one under that pile of Apple ones and Commodore 65s. Yeah.
Did anyone see that post the other week from that guy? It was last week. Who found an Adlib Gold in the dumpster?
Good for him. No, I didn't see it. Where was it? In Australia?
No, it wasn't Australia. It was just amazing. And was he also had a CT, was it 1770 as well, the SCSI version of the of it, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
there's still some stuff to be fine. I don't mind actually keeping lists of people's details if they're after things. Do it all the time. But I've gotten to the point where I sort of give people the sort of preemptive sort of. It'll be, if I do find these cards, it's going to be standard market rates. So you know, I have to buy a lot of equipment and discard a lot of equipment. So while I do occasionally find, you know, some needle in a haystack items, I have to make a return on them. So, but yeah, one of the things I found that sold the quickest actually in these beige AT towers is 486 DX4 100 motherboards with PCI slots and all the controllers on boards, and they seem to be very, very Nigel doesn't like them, and Jason's sort of, yeah, I like those too. So you know, these boards.
No, I was nodding in the sense that yeah, they're really popular. Because you end up with the best of both worlds in the sense you've got PCI and ISA stuff available to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the DX4 100 is obviously the one to have.
The one, yeah. They sell very quickly. But the thing I also like about them is that by that time that they were producing those, they've moved over to a coin battery, not the Vata leaking ones. I've got, you know, must be, you know, three out of 486 piece of local bus motherboards I find have the yeah, like Nathan's got there, have the Vata leaking battery on it. Completely ruins the board. I can only sell a broken board for $20, and I don't even know what people do with them, but you know,
I think they give them to Nathan, and then Nathan resolders all the things on them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Accurate.
Yeah. So those seem to be really popular. The last generation of 486 boards before Pentiums. Yeah, I've found a few of those as well. But yeah, so that's mainly what I'm doing. So keep an eye out, Melbourneites, for a post on our Facebook page, Anthony and I, and we'll make it happen this time next month. And then hopefully, well, what we typically do is have the swap meet and then go home and then talk about it on this thing that evening. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, Justin, you'll be there, won't you? With the baby. Totally will be. And Pat, you're coming for the first time. I know you're in Melbourne. You got no excuse not to. Your microphone's still broken.
Wow,
Pat.
it's Robot Man.
Yeah, I know. Who's the Dalek? Yeah, don't come back.
Yeah. Goodness me. He's got a bit of a temper.
All right, guys.
All right. Steven's up next. Let's hear what you've been doing.
I've been continuing the hunt for Commodore oddities, and there's a couple on the way, and this one just arrived. It's a lovely men's wristwatch.
Oh, wow.
Commodore
Cool.
branded. So actually, I've got 6 more of these coming. So
that's cool, man. That's really cool.
No, but let's talk about the exciting one. Now, I'm thrilled this month because I have been able to strike an item off my wanted list. That is, I fulfilled one of the top 3. Now, probably some of you guys already have this, but for me, it's been a 20-year-long hunt. And here it is, the GVP A530.
Oh, very nice.
Hard drive, memory expansion up to 8 megabytes, SCSI controller, 40 megahertz accelerator for the Amiga 500. These are really tough to get, but managed to pick it up finally. And it can go with my HD8 Plus, which is all of the above without
I thought you were going to reach for an Amiga Mini then.
Looking into that. So yeah, so that's exciting news for the month. For me, I could put something else on the wanted now. Speaking of wanted, is that okay if I share my screen?
Yep. Hang on. You are now good to go.
Good. Thank you. I'm going to show some stats. 16 people who want something. So these are stats from the wanted list that you were speaking of earlier in the meeting. The total number of wanted items, 25 items. Average number of wanted items per person, 1 to 2 items. So most people are content with their collections by the sounds of it. Mine's I've maxed out to 3.
Why do I just feel like I've stepped into a work meeting?
Here are the most wanted items grouped by category. Only 20% are computers, 12% monitors, and 68% other things like cartridges and power supplies and what have you. And then when it comes to brands, makes, 20% Commodore, 20% Apple, 12% IBM, 8% Atari, 8% Dick Smith, and then 32% other, such as that supercomputer. That I think would be a nice grab if somebody could take it. Yeah, so I thought I'd just do a couple of stats on that for fun.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but so far it seems to be good. I don't know if anyone's actually managed to acquire something. I did find a 5153 monitor for sale. I know that's on the list. I can't recall by who, sorry, but it was in the United States. So I assume you don't want 60 hertz, and so I didn't pass it on. But there was one that I came across.
What about Ian Maverick and his 5153s?
Oh, you got some, have you, Ian?
I've only got left.
Oh, you sold them all?
I sold them all, yeah. You were lucky.
It's Nigel. Nigel is after that. Nigel Williams.
Anyway, I had 5154s, didn't I, Anthony? They're the EGAs, not the CGAs.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's a 5154, of which that's right. That was a good time.
Which I have one case left because one of them had a busted tube, and people have subsequently bought all the other innards bits to repair their own ones because they're such a shit monitor, and the tube stuff. But the plastics of the case is still good. And if you look at to be honest, how regularly people say they're poorly packed IBM monitors arrived in a million pieces, I know that eventually I'll sell this case to someone who's got a monitor that's expired in transit, and they'll get another good monitor out of it.
Cool.
The only other thing I've been doing is I've been hacking away at that A1200, Amiga 1200. I'm not a hardware guy. I'm a software guy. So I'm not very handy when it comes to the hardware stuff. It's taken me about 2 months to desolder the keyboard connector. It's not desoldered yet, so I'm still going, but I'm having to go every couple of weeks or so. I'm buying in more and more tools to aid the process.
How many pins is it?
Oh, it's something like 20 or something like that.
You do it one a day, Ian, or once a fortnight.
Okay. I was going to say I'm not very good at hardware either, but I'm sure I can manage a keyboard cable connector. But then again, I've got one of those soldering rework stations. So.
Yeah, I have too. I've been buying some stuff. I've got that it's not quite sucking it out properly. So my next step is I'm going to get that low melt solder, which melts at about 150 degrees, gives you a bit more time. Put that on there. It's my plan. And then hot rework station should melt it up without damaging anything. So that's my next course of action.
Just a tip for things like that, before I even start trying with the solder sucking rework station, is I add a little bit of fresh solder to
I did that.
Even before I start, and then that usually solves it. It doesn't have enough solder there in its as delivered most things. You got to add a little bit there.
Yeah.
The solder sucker works great. So
yes, indeed. I tried that because they also get a bit crusty from some of the caps had leaked, so messed up some of the solder, which made it a bit harder.
I take it you're replacing the connector, or?
No, I need to pull it out to get to that cap that's behind it.
Oh, okay, yeah. They're still available, those connectors.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So if you're not too worried about it, I just snip straight off the board and then bloody rip and put a new one in. I think they're only about $12 or something.
Oh, cool.
Saves a lot of.
You then have to solder 20 more. You got to solder 20 more points on that, man. So if you do, it's 20 on each side, man. That's 40. That's 40 soldiers. If you only do one half, you only have to do 20.
That's true. Well, hopefully in the next meeting, I'll have a progress update for you. I might have got partway through, and by the year 2024, I might have the thing unsoldered.
This sounds like the new mouse balls. Very good. Very good. Very good. Anything else, Steven?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Rob, you're up.
Well, after all of that, it's going to be pretty much a bit of a disappointment for me. I mean, I didn't get an A500 Mini.
I saw that you didn't like them.
I really hated the 64 Mini. Like I found it to be an utterly terrible thing. So I don't hold that company in high regard.
It is pretty damn cute, though. Holy crap, it's cute.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got my real A500, which is granted a behemoth to set up, especially because I got an ACA 500 that plugs into it. And for casual Amigaing, I'll use my Mister.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see that thing on? Someone shared it. I think it was in Australian Vintage, where someone put an Amiga 500 inside an Amiga 500.
Yeah.
Sorry, an A500 inside an Amiga 500. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So most of this month, I mean, I had my A500 out because I did a look at Spin Dizzy Worlds on that and the Super NES. And then I did look at a recent 64 release called Arcade Days, and I'm currently just playing with the Spectrums because I'm working on something for the Specky's 40th birthday in a couple of weeks. So I've just been playing a whole bunch of games and writing up some stuff for that. So it's just going to be why the Spectrum's cool, because despite my work, I still have a channel that is very followed by C64 nuts who seem to not accept anything else. So I think the Spectrum is fun. So I've been having a lot of fun with mine.
It's rubbish, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's like the hardware.
Come on, you compare it to anything else, and it's terrible.
Yeah, but it's got really fun games that are really interesting.
Really good fun games. It's certainly got a lot of character, and you also
and it's not the QL which Dave is holding up.
That's even worse than the rest of them.
Obviously, you guys have never used a Sinclair ZX80 where the screen goes blank every time you press a key.
I've got one of those.
Came out a year before I was born.
What?
I'll finish it one day.
Oh, nice.
The rubber keys on a Spectrum, on a 48K Spectrum, are bad enough for me.
No. Dick Smith Wizard.
Yeah.
The worst keyboard in the world. Trust me.
I remember your piece on that.
No. The ones that are built in, you can get the add-on keyboard, right? Which is, it's a little worse than a Specky, but then you've got the ones that are built into the control pads, and they're diabolical.
One that's close, it's not as bad as that one, is the Intellivision ECS keyboard, which if you don't touch it on exactly the right angle, it jams in the socket. So
the Dick Smith one is just like that.
Yeah. So like I said, I've just mostly been tinkering with that stuff. So nothing really exciting this month.
Cool. No worries.
The one thing I will say in the Specky's defense, and this is the bit that Commodore fans and Americans especially don't get, was the fact that it was on sale in the UK when Britain was fucking broke, right? No one had a spare $100 or $300, $400, whatever, to throw at a Commodore 64. They had maybe, after saving, $99 to throw at a Specky, or £99.
Yeah, £125 for the 16K. That's yeah.
At launch, because you remember the original, it came down to £99 for the 48K pretty quick.
Damn, yeah, like that's one of those things. Like, I only got my C64 as a kid because we bought it off my uncle for $100 in '89.
Yeah,
that's why my parents were not very computer literate. So
one of the tricks he did to get the price down, the RAMs were all stuffed, so there's twice as much RAM in there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it only used in the bottom. I think it's in the bottom 16K.
No,
it's actually got 32.
It's the upper 32K.
Oh, it's the upper 30. Okay, it's the upper 32K. There's actually 64K on the board, but it only uses the bottom half because the top halves are all fucked.
Well, it's actually, it can be switched between bottom and top depending on what chips you've got.
Oh, okay.
So there's a little jumper on the board.
Yeah, that was an old trick, is that you could use the low yield parts And because the only difference between the different yields was like whether it's a 300 nanosecond or 200 nanosecond was you test it, and if it works at 300, it's a 300. If it works at 200, it's a 200. Same thing with those chips. You can sell a 2K chip as a 1K chip if either the bottom half or the top half works, and that's what they did. Micro:bit tried to do some of the same things, but they ended up using all of the chips. So, but yeah, we played around with doing that for a while. Tried particularly with ROM chips, is that you get an EEPROM, and sometimes you get a stuck bit in the top or bottom half. But if you only need a 4K EEPROM, you can use a 2764, which is an 8K ROM, and just strap the other one to ILO, and you can use the chip.
Cool.
Alan, you've joined us, Alan. We're going back to the computer swap meets next month.
Oh, fantastic. Good to hear. That was one of my first questions, to say, when the bloody hell are you going to pull your finger out?
Yeah, it's all my fault. I know. No one else has the ability to organise these things.
No, well, you've organised them in the past. Well, no one else is going to take over.
That's right, Ian. No one else can be bothered organising any other catch-ups.
You know the guys, I don't even know their bloody phone numbers. So.
All right, I'll do it. Pat Breen, don't put yourself off mute. Just nod left up. Yes or no? Are you coming to the swap meets or not?
Can you hear me now?
Oh
No.
yeah, Pat Breen's back.
Pat Breen's back. Anthony, I think you should put Pat Breen on next before his microphone.
Yeah, I agree.
Dalek again.
Let's go straight to Pat Breen. Pat Breen, let's hear what you've been doing.
All I was going to say is I actually did go to the last Bandura one, and that's actually where I met Alan, who somewhat inspired me to get a Micro:bit.
He has that effect.
Yes, no. It was a good chat. I've really just been doing some collecting stuff around the sides, around the fringes. I managed to get a Atari 1200 XL, which was a kind of one of those things that have been hanging around as if you see this for a good price, then get it, kind of on my list. But I haven't actually got hold of it yet. It's sitting in the US. Hello.
This has got your name on it.
Okay.
Got your name on it.
Good stuff. What else? I found this is now getting into stuff that only I care about, but I which is what I hit sometimes doing this. I found a private collector in the US that had all these kind of interesting Unix workstations that were ridiculously spec'd. And so I started going through his collection a little bit and bought a few little bits and pieces, including like I found this Spark Station 20 that basically has inside of it the equivalent of like an Ultra Spark 2 running at 300 megahertz, which I've never, like I worked at Sun for 6 years and I'd never heard of any of this technology. But I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. He had another interesting oddball system as well that kind of was in a similar category. But I've just bought a few little bits and pieces like that. I managed to get a Next Cube at a not crazy price, but still expensive. I'm not going to say what. Just a bit of collecting around the sides. I don't know why I did this, but I don't have as many as Nigel Rhodes, but I have a lot of Amigas myself. So
we can hardly see it because of your masking, but I think that was an A500 Mini that was floating in and out of space.
It was. My apologies on that. I originally just bought the controller. Not the mouse, and then I thought, screw it. I'd like to probably throw a bit of coin just to make. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, everyone seems to be buying them, so I don't think they're gonna have any issues with orders. But I just thought, I'll support this company that's trying to do that. And actually, I haven't opened up that box, so I literally just got back from overseas this morning. From the minimal number of reviews I've watched on it, the interface looks pretty good. I saw what they did with the C64 and stuff, but they seem to have done a pretty good job around this one in terms of just the flexibility of the interface, which is pretty cool. But I don't know if I'll use it or I'll give it away to someone. Anyway, because I got a lot of Amigas. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I'm glad, Ian, you talked about the swamp meet, because I thought that short 6-minute mini documentary on the Adelaide one was fabulous. And I just, at that point, I was like,
should I start hassling Ian? And I thought, no, I won't do that. I don't know if I can get out to Keysborough or not. Like, I will try to go to the next one when it's on. But I'm definitely keen, and if all those guys in Adelaide can, get their shit together, I don't see why we can't. So,
Absolutely, Pat.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing it regular for a while. It was only the stupid pandemic that threw out our mojo. We were doing regularly once every 2 months for about 2 years. I think we got it down to a pretty fine art. So hopefully we'll get back to that now.
Indeed.
Yeah, I even bought a trolley for it, and then I never used it again.
Same.
Yeah, so Pat, you need to be the next one. Absolutely, you must.
I will try.
Hey, before you go, Pat, I know that before you go, I just want to share my screen because you're like the only person. You're the only person that'll really appreciate this. So, can everybody see this? This is what I picked up. Just a couple of things. So a guy was. Did you notice that there's a television flashback there? So that. So I got practically all this stuff. So there's 6 in television. So I've got 1 System 3, 3 originals, and 2 in television 2s, 5 in televoices, 3 ECSs, 26 brand new, never used homebrew titles.
Which is the real reason why you bought this.
Which is the real reason why I bought it. Because I'll be honest with you.
Who the fuck was this guy?
I don't know, but I mean, titles like Miss Night Stalker, which I've been looking for ages. He had 2 copies of that. When
you went to pick it up, did you tell him he could keep the flashback?
No way, man. I was actually looking at buying one of those. So I was pretty excited because I want to get, everything in television. And so when I got that, I just thought, wow, I need so few of this. I need the 26 homebrew titles. I need about 5 of those games. So you'll notice that I might be pretty heavy in television listing at the moment. And there's plenty more to go. So if you see some amazing bundles of titles, yeah, I got to say, it's going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So
I actually need to get rid of my television.
Oh,
it's just been, I did a video on it and it sat in a display cabinet at work for like the last 2 years. I haven't touched it.
Yeah. Well, when you get
what use is the ECS computer?
None.
Well, you can play.
You
can play these titles, all these titles, plus.
Are they the apps?
They are the games for it, right? Plus all of these ones. So, such amazing titles, such as
Learn to
The Flintstones Keyboard Fun, Super NFL Football, Number Jumble.
There's nothing super about it.
So there's no QuickBooks for in television or.
Oh yeah, there's the 2022 ATO My Tax app is on it. So, and all it's what is it? 15.
That's the last time it was updated.
Yeah. Anyway, so Pat, it was a good buy. It's I've just now. I think I've practically broken even on that purchase.
So have you been selling off whatever? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I got like several copies of some pretty rare titles, which I'm just liquidating. But yeah. So if you're looking for an Intellivision or entire packs of the Action Network or entire packs of the Space Network, I'm your
Anthony's your man.
Cool. Thanks, Pat. Let's hand over to
we go back to Alan.
Back to Alan, and tell us what you've been doing.
Oh, right. Hang on. Yeah, I'm unmuted. The ACMS Microbee event there a couple of weeks ago. It took me a couple of weeks, which I drove up to, and I took 7 of my Microbees. So it took me a couple of weeks just to get each of those out and make sure that they were running, updated, etc. Craig was there, Jason was there, I think that's all. Yeah, a good event.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and then of course it took me a bloody week or so just to unpack. But it's easy. Seems to be you can get it packed easily, but getting it unpacked took forever. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit more scanning, of course, because I also picked up a few bits of some docs up at the ACMS that we didn't have. So yeah, just been slowly releasing those. That's for Micro B and the XD Sorcerer stuff. I've had tea with the daughter and everything. That's why I've come in late tonight, because I've just finished the champagne. I'm back onto the cup of tea. Other than that, I haven't really done much computer-wise.
Oh, that's
speaking of scanning stuff, I should have that Atari stuff on Tuesday, and I'll start scanning it.
Fantastic. No, you can send me down the files. I can process them, and I'll send you the final files back, and you can.
I'll just put them up on the repo. That's fine. Whatever you want to do with them.
Yep.
Yeah. So a mate of mine was digging through somewhere and found a whole bunch of really old Atari user group Sydney newsletters, including number 1.
Yeah. Well, they're normally missing from everyone.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're sitting waiting for me at work. I'll get them on Tuesday when I'm back, and start. From what I can tell, most of them are already ring bound. So scanning them is going to be a piece of piss at work. I'll just pile them straight into the auto feeder and just go dum 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 dum.
Yeah. Too easy. Yeah, some of the docs that I picked up from the ACMS was the Canberra Micro B user group newsletters.
Okay.
And I
thought you would have got most of those off Ingmar already.
Well, yeah, I've had his, but no, the collection is far from complete.
Oh, okay.
And there was few holes in the middle, and I was able to fill up some of the holes. Cool. And we've got an extra 2 at the end. So yeah, up to about number 47, I think.
I would love to read those Atari user group newsletters. So if you could supply the link, or I would love to go through them.
I'll
Jason will
scan them. I'll send them to Alan, but when I send them to Alan, I'll probably do it via Dropbox. Anthony, I'll send them to you as well.
Yeah. And I'll convert them, clean them up, realign them, the whole bloody thing. Make sure you haven't missed any pages. And which is,
so you'll proofread them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just look at the page numbers.
I know.
And they've got to be multiples of 4 or multiples of 2, etc. All those things.
I wish there was a way on archive.org that heaps of us could collaborate together, because there's a lot of skills. There's people who can scan well. There's people who can get the data, and there's people who can actually type in and summarize and categorize and hashtag and get the data so it's easily found on the search. I wish there was a way we could have a group account and we could all upload and contribute together. That would be awesome.
Well, that's possible, of course. Anyone can set up a group. I know the ACMS have got one, but it's empty. Because I've scanned a few of their bits and pieces. In some way, I'd like to drop it into their account, but I don't have access. As long as you know the password, you can't log in, and therefore I can't drop it there. But you could set up, what are they? The AVCM, whatever the hell we call.
Yeah, AVCC.
Yeah. Account, as long as you broadcast the password to, key people. Then when you log in as that, drop the password in, and you then put it up under that name.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Rather than your own.
Because that way we can do it as a group, because it's a lot of work. Like the whole process is a lot of work. So some people are really good at polishing the data, and some people are really good at going through it, reading it, collating it, summarizing it, putting in all the fields. And I like going through it all. So I would like to do the last bit.
Yeah, well,
the collating and typing in all the data and getting it all hashtagged so that we can actually find it on the search.
Yeah, and for those that don't do that, all the members of that particular group, because of course, can then go in and edit each one and add further data.
Wow. Okay.
Because I've gone in many times to edit my own stuff because I've had a wrong date or I've had further information that I wanted to add, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, so if you've got a group name, I naturally made Chicken Man because that's what I've been known as.
Yeah.
For some strange reason. Just
Mine's A. Beckett. It's pretty fancy.
Oh, yeah, that was difficult to find you.
Well, the other thing that I'll be chasing down soon, because I've already got a couple of leads, is everything I can find on that Ericom ERA 50. So I've touched base with a guy by the name of, oh shit, I can't remember his name now. Bill someone. He's at QUT now. And he was either the director, I think, of Ericom when it first started, Electronics Research Australia, when it first started here in Canberra. And it also turns out that the industrial designer of that computer is still on staff at UC, and supposedly has a whole bunch of doco and stuff that goes along with the ERA 50. So hopefully I'll be able to get that scanned and things like that, because if you look up Ericom ERA 50 on the net, nothing comes up apart from a few references with this Bill guy. It's a weird machine, that.
William Kelly, PhD.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't see any photos or anything.
No. Anyway, so I actually just emailed them out of the blue. It's kind of the benefit of having an edu email address, like from another university, that tends to not get filtered when you email someone else and things like that. So I managed to touch base with him. And so, yeah, I want to try and start building up some information around this, because there's nothing on it, like, at all. And we've got no software or anything for it. So Kerry found 3 of them. One's in pretty wrecked state, and that's the one he kept. I got one, and the other one's heading up to Riley. But they're really weird machine. They're an Intel 8085 with 2 thumping huge 8-inch drives in it. And the big selling point about them is the floppy drive controller also does encryption. So
there you go. Cool.
Just what everyone needs.
That's what I'm looking for in my 8-bit computer.
Yeah, encryption.
Yeah, exactly.
Alan,
I'm guessing
anything?
You were probably not the target market, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm guessing no. Alan, anything else?
No, not really. We'll say I took some of my microbees up there. I took 7 microbees, all different. Ewan took about another 5 different. The only one that we didn't have there was the Matilda, only because he ran out. Ewan ran out of room to put it in the car. So, but we had them from the original kit microbee. I took the kit. I took the PC85. I took a 56K with twin drive. I had my 256 TC. I had a Teleterm, and I had the first MyTac portable with the microbee badge on it that they imported in.
I didn't see that. I must have missed that one.
Yeah, well, it wasn't going, but it was there with the badge. I didn't have a monitor on top of it.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't go, but it comes with a fancy bag, and I had the manual and everything was there. There was also, I had my my compact flash microbee as well, the one that I mostly use, to be honest, because just so much bloody space, and everything's on the one card. Yeah, so yeah, it was really good. It was good to catch up with, well, I know we Jason's here and we talk and so forth, but to catch up with them actually in person was good. Owen Hill was there, of course. I'd spent a day with Owen Hill. He came down here to Currambara about just before COVID to some geek fest or some bloody stupid thing there, and they wanted to have some computer classes. He had an audience of one, me. So yeah, we spent the day, and all the stories that he had the other night, I'd heard the whole bloody lot of them.
That was just the great thing about it. I mean, and Craig will probably vouch for the whole idea was most of the session was meant to be a Q&A session.
Yeah.
9/10 of it basically turned into everyone just sitting back and listening to Owen's stories for like 3 hours. It was awesome. We loved it.
Yeah, it just went on and on and on. But yeah, no, he's certainly got some insights and, the stories of how Microbee started and how he had no bloody idea how to do various things and everything just fell in his lap and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's all very interesting. It was good to hear it for the second time.
Awesome.
To be quite honest, but yeah, other than that, I've still got me Super 80 to finish off. I have done nothing with it for the last 2 or 3 months, but I've got about 30 little bloody fine wires I've got to solder in, and it's sort of putting me off, to be honest. But anyway, we'll get there.
Cool. All right. So, Justin, what have you been doing since we seen you last?
Oh, I think I have the shortest one here. Pretty sure I haven't done really anything except the parts for my MSX2 came in, and then I properly blew up the RAM in it.
So you populated your MSX2, is that what you're saying?
No, so what had happened was, I'll get it out here. Here it is in its glory. So if I can open it, it shouldn't be hard. I'm using my phone on this, so yeah, that'll do it. Cool, easy to find, no screws in it. All right, here we go. So keyboard in the way. So if we look down,
that's not good. So I'm guessing that computer's broken.
Something's broken.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, I'm back.
You're back.
Your daughter pulled the cable out.
Someone pulled the cable out. So what I've actually done is socket up the RAM now since I blew it up. And over here as well, these two. And then on the back, I've got the now standard power socket. So if you've plugged in the power, hit the power switch there, it'll fire up as you'd expect it to. But yeah, I installed the cables here wrong, so I can put it away on the side there and flip it over. So the small was 5 volt. These one was -12. That was +12. And I chucked on the Pico ATX backward.
Oh.
Actually, I'd actually plugged the 12 volt into the 5 volt rails that blew all the RAM chips.
So where's the Pico ATX? Is that
in the tape?
It's that small.
It's actually fine.
That is incredible.
It's tiny. I'll get it out.
No, don't.
It's fine.
I'll look it up online. It's okay.
It's retreat temporary. They've actually got to print out a bracket, so it's actually it's this big.
That is incredible. And how many watts is that?
Good question. I think 160.
That's unbelievable.
So way more than you need.
Oh yeah,
that's
totally
unbelievable.
It's that small as well. So that just literally can sit. It's actually will sit here when I've pushed out the bracket. It'll sit across.
And that's just available online. This little.
Yep, it was like $30.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Beware of knockoffs, though.
Yeah.
There are knockoff ones available.
Yeah.
And
The only thing I
people
do
have
is the only thing I do is desolder the socket. Because the I haven't got it, but it should fit into a standard ATX.
That's incredible. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm like, how can I get a better power supply for this thing? And turns out, yeah, that worked out perfectly well. So other than the blown RAM, which is my mistake, I should have read the instructions. Because the instructions actually told you which output was which voltage. So I could save myself some time because it took a long time for the spare RAM to come.
Yeah.
And I mean a long time. Like I think it was between like between the last meeting and this one is how long it took.
Oh wow.
Like
so a solid month.
Yeah, solid month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it came. I did snap off. There's like a little tab thing on the front here, like a little latch for that snapped off. But other than that, it's pretty good.
It's a real hobbyist's Msx machine.
Yeah, that's good now because the socket looks the power socket there just looks really nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
And the guy who had the instructions basically saying, if you're doing a power supply replacement for this, here's what you do. And he's basically like remove the components for the normal power output, and then said, IC16 outputs 12, IC17 is neg 12, 5 volt goes in somewhere else. And I should have followed those instructions the second time around and not stuff myself up. But other than that, power socket went in easy, sold that down, with the power switch in the way. So 12 volts literally just switched with the power switch. And then so if you turn it on, turn it off, the 12 volts will go in the ATX and does the rest. Does its work.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Actually, I think I posted the other one. I fixed the PC Engine CD-ROM drive. That I think was on the group, that one. Open it. So it now just sits here. I put it back in the case. The case, surprisingly, this is called the interface unit. That doesn't work yet. So I don't know what's actually wrong with that. But I need to buy a card for the actual interface unit and CD-ROM. Have a card that goes in there to actually use it.
I can ask my brother about that. He's got about 4 or 5 PC engines, I think.
Yeah, there's what do they call it? They call it the Super CD-ROM card. And that just goes in there, and then this will work. But I've got to fix the interface
online on auction wise. They're not too hard to procure, just the card.
Okay, I'll have to have a look. But the interface unit doesn't work yet, so I'm not sure what's actually wrong with that. Or I could just have the wrong power supply. It does say positive outside, so I have to give it a try later.
Cool.
Yeah, but on that, there's like a little gear. There's a little gear that goes in there, and that's very common and known to break. So basically, it's like a little rubber. What that it's like a rubber gear for some reason, and just with age, it just totally breaks away. Like it just disintegrates. It's like you touch it, and like, all right, well, what do I need to get? And eventually I bought an SLA printer and just printed a gear out, and that like it's super tiny. It's like it's like ridiculously small. It's like this big. And then popped it in, worked fine.
Oh, great.
That's the only thing holding it back. The whole reason the CD-ROM drive didn't work was because that gear, the original gear, just busted, and I didn't have a replacement. So if anyone needs a PC Engine CD gear, let me know. I'll print one out for you on the SLA printer.
Cool.
Takes a whopping 12 minutes.
Awesome. Very good. Anything else, Justin?
No, that's it. Other than that, I'm moving house next week, which I said at the start. So I'll be living in Rockbank, not Ringwood.
Oh, that's going to be fun for you.
Yeah, that move is going to be fun, especially if you look at the room and it's just like
Yeah. Okay. Good times. Good times. Yeah. I dread the word move. I'm not interested.
Well, lucky for me, that's all stuff's in boxes already, so just get loaded straight on.
Even still.
And away it goes. Project wise, I've really got a Roland. Oh, what was it? The DXY plotter. So I'll have a look at that. I saw Cameron, who gave me another box of stuff, and he had the cable, the actual proper Roland DG cable.
Oh, cool. That's handy.
I'm like, oh, you got the cable? He's like, yeah, you can have it for free if you got the plotter. I was like, yeah, I got the plotter, so that'll be something to look at later. Other than that, yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Nothing else.
Thanks, Justin.
Special.
I know that the next person, Mike, has something very interesting to tell us about. So, Mike, tell us about your 1581 and all the other things you've been doing.
That was a fun kit to build and really easy. The Chris DIY Chris put out a replica of the 1581 mainboard and a kit of parts. So yeah, I thought I'd grab one. I used to have a 1581 and I sold it off when I moved, and those things that you regret selling off. And even though I didn't think I wanted media again, physical media again, it was just too tempting to build one, and they're not super expensive. And surprisingly, it's mostly off the shelf parts. So aside from one bizarre Commodore chip, which is easily obtainable from eBay, it went together really good. I chose a different case. I think he also does a case as well, but I chose Thomas Christoph's case, which he does a two-tone case in similar colors to the SX64. And it's punched out to just take a standard 3.5-inch drive. So you don't have to muck around with, eject buttons and stuff like that. You just basically mount the drive, the PC 3.5-inch drive in the case, and hook it up. And yeah, lots of swearing and so forth later. It was all together and it went first go, so I was very happy.
Cool.
And I've just been just before the meeting, I was just copying files across to it, just giving it a good workout, because it was late last night when I finished it, and literally I formatted a disk I bought off Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. There was a guy nearby where I live here in Cranbourne selling a couple of boxes of brand new unopened KO brand 3.5-inch, double-sided, double-density discs. So I grabbed I paid $40 for the 2 boxes plus a 3.5-inch disk drive, little box full of already open. So I think I walked away with about, 40 discs or something, and a disc box for my troubles. So, but I was glad he's selling some new ones, because obviously putting something like that together, you don't want to be throwing dodgy old discs at it. And I already didn't know the provenance of the 3.5-inch disc drives, although the seller that I bought them from said that he tested them, but you can never be sure. So it was good. Cracked open the case, took the plastic off, smelt that 90s KO goodness, put a disc in, formatted, and it 100% worked. So tonight I've just been copying stuff across to it and listening to that lovely mechanical sound of a 1581. So,
oh, that's awesome, man! Awesome.
It's good value. I think I'm trying to think how much I spent on it now.
I just fully stocked up one while you were talking.
So
if you bought everything from Mr. DIY Chris, you bought everything
Pretty
you
much.
need.
Yep.
$148 for a 1581. That's pretty good.
There you go. Yep. And Thomas charges everyone $100 for the 3D printed case, which is a complete, you drop in. The only difference is his case. I think he's more designed it around his. He also does a replica PCB, but he doesn't sell the parts, which is why I didn't get everything from him. I think he uses a different size on-off switch to the Commodore one. So a little bit of filing around where the power switch goes. And I think he's the two LEDs, little circuit board that holds the red and the green for power and activity. I think his is a slightly different shape. So again, a little bit of filing on the front fascia to get the DIY Chris one to fit in. Yeah, it was easy. It was a no-brainer. So there it sits behind me. It just took me 15 minutes to turn a D81 into a disc. But yeah, I'm going to, over this long weekend, probably give it a really good thrashing.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much it for me, because my work has recommenced and it's back in the office 5 days a week. So yeah, it's tiring.
Were you working only a couple of days a week?
Yeah. I was working initially totally from home, and then 1 day a week, and then 2 days a week, and yeah, now it's 5 days a week. And I've lost my offsider, and I'm not getting a replacement. So yeah, I'm doing a lot more work in the workplace as well. So I come home buggered. So I think it's back to basically weekend only type time for the 8-bit stuff. Or get an IT job closer to home.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I haven't had a change in work since COVID started. So I've been working every day. So it's no change for me. So
in the office or at home?
Yeah, at work. So I get to drive the hour back, 2 hours return. So 2 hours each day. So yeah, nothing's changed for me. I'm full time. So anyway.
Well, I feel the 2 hours, because that's exactly what mine is. And I've got to say, being able to work from home for that length of time that we were, although being in IT, of course, while most of the organisation I work for were still working from home, I was still in and out of the office occasionally, and in the office before those guys did. But because I work in the city and live in Cranbourne, there's about 2 hours and 15 minutes of my day each day in transport, and it was so cool to be locked in the house during COVID. It was like retro time, dog time, everything time.
Yeah, you're talking about paradise.
Now it's just back to sleep. Come home, eat, sleep.
Yep. Welcome to the grind.
I know, right? But hey, we've got 4 days. We've got 4 days coming up. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. 4-day week for 2 weeks. Yes. Well, that's the last person other than Craig. Actually, that's not true. Stuart Bunning. Now, Stuart, are you actually there, or are you just listening?
I'm just listening.
Okay, Stuart, what are you doing?
I haven't done anything in the last month. The only thing I've done, and if I'm repeating it, it means I haven't done anything, is I was starting to get one of my 8-inch drives working on my Imsx, and I used one of those little Pico power supplies actually. Didn't wire anything back to front, so that's okay. But yeah, that's all I've done. I've been pretty busy, and I don't know, I just haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Well, I'm one bit working from home and sort of more being sort of required to come back in the office and stuff. So, which is okay, but obviously working from home has its advantages. I don't have to drive very far, but still, when you finish work, you're already home. That's a bonus.
Yeah. I wish I had an IT job. Being in a manufacturing job, I don't have that luxury. Yeah.
No,
So
I'm boring. Sorry, nothing to add this month.
okay. Well, Craig Marshall, welcome. I think is this your first time you've been here?
Yeah, g'day. Yeah, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, first time in. So I've been meaning to jump in, just haven't quite got there. I keep forgetting and just remembered. And, oh, gee, set the webcam up and jumped in. So thought I'd see what they're about.
So tell us about yourself and what you collect and how you got into it and what's your history?
Sort of always, had a Tandy as a lad, TRS-80, Coco 2, which my parents got me, and I got a disc drive for that. So it was pretty cool, and I lived with that for a long time, and then eventually got rid of that and got myself an Amiga when I moved out of home. So got an Amiga 500 and thought I was, God. So that was pretty good. I moved into a 1200 after that for a while, and used to do a bit of rendering, a Vista Pro, a bit of Lightwave, and playing lots of games. And then when I went overseas and got rid of that and come back and got into PCs and sort of always been into computers. Had an IT job, sort of doing networks and VMware, and got a bit burnt out with all that, to be honest. So moved into customer service, and now I'm sort of into assets and stuff, like road assets and road databases and stuff. So that's what I sort of do for a living. So, and then I guess, got a Pi probably a couple of years ago, built myself a little Amiga set up on that just to get back into it a bit. And then, a mate of mine he rang me up and he said, oh, I got a Commodore 286 here. That was at the dump, and he said, oh, do you want it? And I went, oh yeah, I can't let that go to hell. So I bought that home, plugged it in, and it booted up, and I think it had California games on it or something, or World game, some DOS game, and and then it's down the rabbit hole, to be honest, after that. Just buying every computer and going to garage sales and crap and trying to basically replace all the computers I couldn't have as a lad or couldn't afford. So so I got a few more Amigas and stuff back, so it's all pretty good, and a bit of everything really. So I don't know what you're.
Yeah, it's practically the same story for most of us here, I think. Either it starts off simple, like I want to experience something that we had when we were a child, and then it just turns into this all-encompassing destructive event.
I just want to be the person that supplies everyone with stuff.
Yeah. And Mav says,
I hate to admit it, but I actually want a Spectrum. I've never experienced a Spectrum, ZX Spectrum.
You're not missing out on much.
I think Ian Maverick there, is it?
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah.
I've got a dead Coco. I might have a chat offline and I might send you the board because it's swapped out the RAM and it's not working. So as I said, that was my first computer. And I remember probably 20 years ago, I lived out in the country and I went out to visit my parents, and I could see my Coco 2 was actually on the bonfire. My old man had just decided, and I didn't give it a toss back then. I didn't care about old computers because I had new computers. So pretty keen. I got an SDC for my I got another Coco, and I got an SDC for that. So it's like, I built the Coco Pi actually. That's what also got me back into. I just sat there for days one Christmas and just went through. I think there's like about 230 discs built into that Coco Pi, and I just went through every disc, and I'm just playing games that I played as a lad. So that was the thing. Was posted on
Can you just rewind back and say the last 30 words you just said?
I think it's the Optus network.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, Craig, get your people in touch with my people. There's been a Coco I haven't been able to fix. I know that model.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So sorry, I was just saying I'm tied up with Adelaide. Yeah, will do. I'm just tied up with Adelaide Retro. I think I don't know whether you heard that.
Yeah.
We have our monthly meeting. And
Envious.
I post the pictures.
Wish we could get our shit together monthly.
Yeah, look, it's really good actually. We just got kicked. We're getting kicked out of our hall. They want to charge us $560 a night, which used to be free. So we've found a new venue. So that's pretty active. Probably 30 to 50 dudes every month with a bit of a theme. So
that's great.
I love it. But,
It's
I
really
think
great.
Perth Amiga user group. It's pretty popular.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, as a lad, I used to go to the Amiga user group in Adelaide back in 89, 90. That was pretty popular when I think some guy had a toaster. I thought that was pretty cool. So, assume we all know what a toaster is.
Video toaster in Amiga, yeah. I had no idea what that is. That was sent to me because I bought a computer years ago. It was no good, and the fellow was retrieving these things out of the local tip. So all I know, it's a colour TRS-81, the later ones. I never really had any interest in them. The earlier ones I liked, the black and white ones. Yeah.
Is that a Coco 2 or 3?
I have no idea. I've never.
It should say on the silver sticker on the top.
2 color computer 2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, long white case one. Yeah.
It's never even been plugged in since I've had it.
Yep.
Cool. Very good. Well, welcome, Craig. Unfortunately, you've just missed most of the proceedings.
No, yeah, next month.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Very good. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add or anything that's coming forward?
Yeah, Mav, when's this swap meet happening, and where's it happening at?
Same time, this time next month, we're going to go to Keysborough.
Oh,
Keysborough.
Nice. Keysborough's just down the road.
Pretty good, isn't it? It's good for us, Alan.
Not for me and Justin. We got a hike, and Dave. Dave will.
Oh, look, it's good for Mike. Mike.
It is. I could almost walk.
Bandura, I needed to take a bloody cut lunch to get there.
I know Bandura's bloody terrible.
Bloody hell, that was shocking.
I'd be devastated if Pat Breen doesn't turn up though.
Yeah, I would be too.
I got to say, he would be like.
I'll bring along a few more microbeats just to tempt him.
I might even give him a spare and television cartridge or two. And a mouse ball.
Does Pat not drive?
No, Pat's just lazy.
Oh, okay.
No, I so in all seriousness, I don't have access to a car at the moment. So
what suburb are you in, Pat?
I'm nowhere near you guys. I'm in Fairfield, which is actually a lot closer to Bandura than it is to Keysborough.
Yeah, Bandura was closer for me, but I mean, I just today in my normal business of picking up and dropping off computer equipment, I went from Deer Park to Berwick to Hallam to Keysborough and then back home, all in under 3 hours. So
when was this? When was this?
Today.
You didn't visit me?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
Which state are you guys in? Which state? Sorry. Is this Queensland?
No, this is Victoria. Most of us are Victorian.
Victoria. Oh.
Queensland.
Oh, that's closer at least.
Yeah. We could have a great monthly catch up, but we're just too lazy. Well, Ian's lazy.
I'm lazy. Yeah, it's called a spade a spade. Yeah. Starting next month, we're going to try and get back to swap meets every 2 months.
Absolutely.
At Keysborough, which is a hell of a long drive for me.
Hey, Stephen, are you Victorian?
Yes, Geelong.
Oh, sweet. So same as Dave. Dave Merton's also Geelong.
Oh, really?
Yep, he sure is. Yeah, because I've got an Eric set up on my Atari 800, which is the Laserdisc demonstration system. But we've got it converted to CD-ROM. I would love to actually set that up and run that as a Atari demonstration unit for the 8-bits. But maybe next month I'll have it ready. But I reckon maybe 4 months. I lost a lot of momentum. I got it done pre-COVID. Anyway, want to show me something, Ken?
Yeah, just quickly. I forgot about this earlier on. This was sent to me as a gift from Europe. A friend that I correspond with, he sent me some photos, and I'd never seen a beige TAC2 before in my life. So, yeah, I didn't know they existed. I mean, I used to sell these damn things in the store, you know. It was one of the most popular popular joysticks. So anyhow,
It's a special edition.
Yeah, special edition. So anyhow,
Very rare.
he
I
sent.
paid $55 for one.
He sent me
Yeah, I
this
bought
as
one.
Sorry, he sent me this as a Christmas gift all the way from Europe. Didn't charge me a cent for it, and it only actually turned up a couple of weeks ago because of COVID had screwed up all the post and everything. So, but I couldn't get over. That's how enthusiastic he is about the hobby. He's like, here, I've got a spare one in the attic. It's yours.
That's
Isn't
lovely.
that nice? Yeah, yeah. So
That's probably a good $150+ there if you stuck it up on eBay.
I unlike a lot of you guys, I don't have any interest in buying and selling stuff or making money out of it. I mean, when I kicked the bucket, which could actually be more sooner than later, a bit of a story, but last week I actually, for some strange reason, I started losing my sight several times, so I'm going to the doctor about that tomorrow. But yeah, everything I've got will just get given to friends and what have you. I'm in it for the interest, not for the the money. So yeah.
I don't think most, other than Ian, I think most people are here are here for the hobby.
I sell a bit, make a little bit, but
I sell a bit too, but it's because I buy so much stuff and I've got to liquidate because I've got to pay for what I've just bought.
Yeah, and I've got a few microbees I've got to sell, but I'll get around to it one day.
Yeah.
Oh, and
these trips to America for VCFs and things like that don't pay for themselves. So
a good tax deduction, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Well, if is there any final comments or thoughts before we wrap this up?
I was actually going to mention how we're talking about the Commodore floppy drive. There's actually a reproduction 1050 someone's doing as well.
For the Atari?
Yeah, 5 1/4 inch. So it's they use a PC 5 1/4 inch and
cool.
Yeah, they make a 1050 out of them. I've been meaning to look into that project, but I haven't really dug into that.
That's a neat project. That's cool.
Because they're quite rare, the 1050s.
That American fella, is he still doing the cases and boards for the 1581s? There was a bloke had a website you could buy 1581 cases and boards.
Joe, yeah, no, he disappeared a lot, I guess, like a lot of people do. He disappeared sort of off the face of the earth a long time ago.
Okay.
I remember that guy and kicking myself that I never bothered to get in contact with him, but I don't know when he disappeared. But I have not seen any emails or any posts or anything from that guy for a long time now.
Well, I ended up with a free one of those once again. Same fella. He's forever sending me stuff. He bought a few off that chap, and he sent me over a case and the board and that. I haven't come across. Apparently, an Amiga 500 disk drive will fit in it, but only certain ones. So I basically need a drive mechanism, and I believe a 1541 Mark II power supply also fits it.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. So that's sort of on my shelf of things to do. One day.
The other alternative is, you can fit a PC drive, PC 3.5 inch drive, but apparently you've got to take the front off it, and then you need to 3D print a new button sort of mechanism to.
Yep.
But you can do it if you can't get. But I'm pretty certain you'd probably be able to find Amiga drives, I'm sure.
I've got plenty of 500s in the back room. It's just bringing yourself to gut something out of a working machine's a bit.
Well, if you put a GoTech in the Amiga and take the floppy drive and put that in the.
Yeah.
There you go.
Alternatively, Nigel Rhodes has some on Facebook buy, swap, and sell right now.
Oh, look, I'm pretty sure I've got that much crap here. It's just a matter of I'm going to have to get rid of a lot of stuff anyhow. It's a matter of just using what digging through and using what I got. And by the time I can get to the back of that back room into the cupboard where all the brand new boxed 500s are, that unfortunately have 512 RAM expansions in them from new, I'm sure there'll be plenty of dead 500s there from acid leak anyhow. So yeah,
You need to
I wouldn't
open
be
those
too worried
boxes.
about them. I wouldn't be too worried about the those unless they're stored so that they're laying up and down, you know, straight up and down on the side, so that it runs across the RAM.
Right.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah, if you've got them stored up so that the bottom is going down, they'll just kill the RAM expansion. You won't have to worry. They're fine.
I think they're probably stored long. We'll use
Flat?
the
Okay.
color computer since it's the only thing it's useful for. They're probably sitting like that in the boxes.
Oh, that's the worst.
No.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's maximum exposure.
Yeah, get in there and have a look. Yeah.
Open those boxes. Go open those
The
boxes.
room, literally, the room. You think this room's bad? The room is literally, you open the door and it's just stacked to the wall of retro crap. I can't get to the things, and they're in the back corner.
Ken, you need to give us a visual tour on the Facebook page of this room.
I think I did that for you the last time I wandered around with the phone or something, and showed you through the rooms. It was quite a while ago.
I think that was the first time I joined, actually. I do sort of remember. That was, 8 months ago or more, I think, was it?
Might be a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get more reminders. This is only the second time I've had this thing pop up and say, hey, you know.
Yeah, well, I add the reminder every month, so I don't know why either. But anyway.
It'll be a Facebook thing.
Yeah, cool. All right, anybody else before we wrap it up?
Well, I remembered that I dragged out my Apple 9600 as well this month and went through that after 4.5 years of sitting in the corner.
Your Apple what?
9600.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's I searched for ages to get one, and I finally got it, and it never actually has been plugged in until like a couple of weeks ago. So I went through, and it's got a ZIF accelerator board in it as well, so I can put a G4 into that as well, and makes it a decent machine. I won't say great, but to me they're the last of the great classic Amiga. Apples. Yeah.
It's like a top of the line Quadra.
It is.
It's like it's a Quadra 9600.
No, they're a tower. They're like the 8600s. If you've seen them, the side folds down. They open up right open, and they can take up to 1.5 gig of RAM, and I think they've got 6 PCI X slots in it as well. Or was it 4 PCI X? 4 PCI and 2 PCI. I can't remember now. It's been a while since
I'm about to put it on the screen.
Lovely machine.
One of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now close that.
Yeah, I picked up an Apple M1640 from the dump today. It was sitting in the e-waste. We got pretty good access to the e-waste where I am. There's a big shipping container. I just walk in there and grab whatever I want. And I just give the dude some beer. So that's pretty good.
That is awesome.
Quite a few monitors out there.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
I picked up the SGI machine. I picked up the SGI machine for free the other day. I think I put a picture up the other day with the VIC-20. Some dude in Adelaide Uni finished up. He took it with him. He said when he did his PhD, he left and they were throwing the SGIs out. So he grabbed it and took it home with him. And he just never turned it on. But he was giving it away on Gumtree. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, got to rebuild the thing. So boots to the OS, but it's got a username and password on it. So I just need to get past that. But hopefully get that cranking one day.
That's pretty cool.
The list of things to do.
Yeah.
That's right. I also got in touch with the guy on Facebook who had, I don't know if anyone saw it, there was the Amiga 2000 with the proper cherry keyboard for the early versions. He had that and an expanded VIC-20, the early model VIC-20 with the silver badge. Yeah, so he said, make offers, and he got absolutely flooded with, bullshit. So I sent him a message saying, look, mate, this is what you've got here. And Cameron Bond, he's onto that. Yeah. So I've been chatting to him. I finally arranged with him to get the PC3 keyboards. That was the other project I did actually this month as well. I got in and sorted out my spare PC3. I thought it might have been the CPU that was gone on it, but I'm pretty sure it's the DMA controller now. So it's either that or the MMU. but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that's the next one on the list that's parts ordered for, and yeah, that's on the bench at the moment.
Awesome. Cool. Everyone's silent. All done.
Done.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming, everyone, and we'll see you in 1 month, where we will possibly have a Melbourne catch-up, and I might possibly reschedule for the next week so we don't really have a clash, because some people's partners may not appreciate the fact that we're gone the entire day, not only physically but virtually in the evening. But I'll just check with Ian, and I might reschedule, because as you know, it's normally the second Sunday of the month. We might make an exception if Ian lands it on the same day. So thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you next time.